Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, we're looking at the Holy Grail. Well, not really the Holy Grail, but we're looking at the turning point for Thomas and Friends. Railway Mischief, the very first season 17 release, and the very first release to mark the start of the Brenner era. This is exciting. So, this was actually a Walmart and Sam's Club exclusive DVD. It was released back on April 9th of 2013, and it was only in the United States, and we were the very first country to get these episodes at all. And then I'm looking on the wiki here. Apparently, it was discontinued after 9 months, but on April 15th of 2014, it was reprinted again. I don't know if this was by Universal or if this was by Lionsgate. I don't remember when Lionsgate sold the rights or when Universal bought them. I don't remember exactly, but that was a wide release. So yeah, this was originally put out by Lionsgate, and then I actually have the Universal print right here. So yeah, interestingly, this was put out in the UK in 2015, which is a bit strange, but oh well. Sorry, I gotta move some stuff out of the way here so I can reach around. But yeah, let's take a look here. So, we have the Thomas logo up there, Railway Mischief, kind of a cool font. I really like the font that Railway is in. That's really, really cool. Very, very Nitrogen-y, Gordon and Thomas. If you can see here, Gordon's running board is actually like kind of cut out. You can see right there. Bit strange. But they're running through some mud. And I will say this does look a lot better than the mud in Muddy Matters, but it's just kind of like an image overlay. It's not like splashing on them, so it looks a bit strange. I'm not a huge fan of this poster. It's still kind of cool, though. I do like how Gordon's looking at the logo. That's pretty cool. This side's a bit different, and I like that. So we have the Hit logo, the Thomas and Friends logo. Let me get in the light. Railway Mischief, Thomas DVD video. I don't believe we've seen this. No, we have not seen this since the model series all the way back. Let me look at my shelf here. We haven't seen that since Percy's Ghostly Trick. So that's kind of cool that we get that again, but that's only a Universal thing. And speaking of Universal, there is the logo right there. The back is also pretty plain. This whole like artwork seems like it was made in Photoshop in about 10 minutes, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's just very, very basic. Up there in the signal, Cinders and Ashes. There's your description right there. Thomas and Scruff are at completely different angles, which looks really, really weird, but whatever. Bonus features and just a normal circle that's very, very plain. Soda hide and seek game, all you need are friends, music video, and guess who puzzles. Cool. Oh boy. And then inside here, since this is a Universal reprint, it has that stupid reflective gray look. I really wish this had some artwork on it, but it doesn't matter. Hey, at least it's a different color though, and not just like blue or red. It's orange to match, or yellow to match the spine here, so that's cool. I would also like to mention that this did come with a pretty cool slipcover back in 2013, and the original copy also came with a take and play little collector's thing, like a booklet, pamphlet thing. So the episodes on here are Gordon Runs Dry, Kevin's Cranky Friend, Scruff's Makeover, Wayward Winston, and Steamy Stafford. And then in the UK, you also got the episodes Not Now Charlie and Bill or Ben, which is a major loss in my opinion because Not Now Charlie's pretty good, but Bill or Ben, is a fantastic episode, one of my favorites of the entire CGI series. But hey, at least they'll be on a release later on in the lineup, whatever. So I actually took a lot of notes here. So I've watched the actual DVDs a couple of times for this, but for the CGI series, I just found the rips on YouTube and I watched those. But for this kind of landmark release, I wanted to branch out a bit and actually watch the DVD on a TV. So down here in my basement, we have a pretty big TV. So I hooked up my DVD player and I watched it. And holy crap, the quality on these discs are horrible. I just watched Back to the Future 3 before this, and that was on Blu-ray. And holy crap, that picture quality looks so, so good. But then transitioning over to this crappy, like 360, 480p DVD looks horrible. And to add to that, these releases are still in widescreen. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for the Nitrogen era because those episodes are so bad that nobody even watched those DVDs. So it didn't matter that those were in full screen. But now that we're getting good content, I want to see these episodes in widescreen, and they are specifically framed and animated to be in widescreen. For example, in the episode Gordon Runs Dry, there is a shot where Paxton, Gordon, and Thomas are all supposed to be in the frame, but since it's cut off here, do I have any track near me? Let me grab a piece. So what you're looking at right now is a widescreen image. But this is essentially what they do. They just crop it like this, and you can't even see Thomas. You can barely see Gordon. You can barely see Paxton. It looks horrible. Again, in Scruff's makeover, there's a shot just after Scruff gets repainted. It looks incredibly weird. So I hate how these episodes were cropped. I don't understand why they were put in full screen. If somebody knows why, please tell me in the comments because I'm still scratching my head to this day. Was it to make the episodes look better in quality? Because they still look terrible. The intro and the engine, or the Welcome to the Island of Sodor thing, they look horrible. They look like they're in freaking 240p. They look horrible. Let's see here. I'm gonna just rant first. We'll talk about all the good stuff later. The stories themselves don't have a lot to be mad about. It's just like the disc itself. So in the digital releases, let me just check really quick if I have any more bad notes because I don't have a whole lot. We'll just go through my list here. So I already mentioned the horrible cropping, the writing. Oh my gosh, the writing is so much better. I'm gonna actually take this glare away. Sorry. The writing in these episodes are so much better. It's literally like two completely different shows. The engines, their dialogue sounds a lot more natural, and the narrator isn't used as much. I mean, Mark Morahan, absolutely fantastic narrator. I'm so glad that they kept him for both dubs. And he doesn't need to be in every single scene. There are some scenes where the narrator just isn't present at all and the characters just talk themselves. And I really, really like that because we're at a point in Thomas's lifespan where the characters' mouths move. Back in the model series, it was more important for the narrator to actually tell you what was going on because the characters' mouths didn't move. So it was a bit hard to see or to distinguish, who was saying what. But now that the characters have their own voices and their mouths move, it's a lot easier to tell who's saying what. So you don't need the narrator saying every single thing. You don't need to say, Thomas gasped, Thomas puffed a huge puff. We can see that. Let's see here. So, in the digital releases of these episodes, I don't know about some of them, but I know for a fact in Gordon Runs Dry and Wayward Winston, some of the dissolve or the cross dissolves are taken out. So on this DVD, for a couple of the scenes, there are some dissolves which transition from scene to scene. And they look really, really nice on the episodes on this disc. But if you guys watch these episodes on YouTube, then it will just cut. It'll just cut, quick cut. And it looks very, very jarring. And it just felt a lot more natural watching the DVD here. And I really, really appreciate that. Speaking of digital releases, on the digital release, of Wayward Winston, some of the narration is taken out, which is also a bit jarring. I don't know why they did that, but oh well. So let's actually talk about the episodes themselves, though. Oh, one more thing. Back to Gordon Runs Dry. In the scene where Paxton shunts Gordon, there are a couple of different shots, which makes this DVD actually a bit interesting, I guess. This version of Gordon Runs Dry is actually pretty rare. I don't believe this ever was released, or the version with the cross dissolves in the original cutting of Gordon, or Paxton Shining Gordon, was ever released digitally. I could be wrong, but I don't know. Let's talk about the episodes themselves. So, Gordon Runs Dry is a very, very nice story. I do really enjoy a good Gordon story. And this is Andrew Brenner's first episode, and he did a very, very good job. I've already said the dialogue feels a lot more natural. The writing itself isn't as stupid, and even though some of these episodes just do still use a 3 strikes formula, it's a lot less apparent than in the Nitrogen era. For one, they don't use the exact same dialogue every 5 seconds, which is greatly appreciated. Pretty nice. I will mention the animation first off, or before we move on to the next episode. So, Nitrogen is no longer animating these episodes. It is instead done by Arc Productions. Arc Productions is, wow, they get really good in like 2015, 2016. Oh my god, it's like photorealistic, like season 19, season 20. Wow, looks great. But King of the Railway, season 17 looks just awful. Like the physics of the engines looks terrible. And the sets in season 17, again, look horrible. Especially the set for Knapford Station. So there's that like retaining wall, which is supposed to like curve, like it's toward the back of the station. It's supposed to go straight out and then curve, and the tracks are supposed to follow it. But the tracks just go straight out for like 5 miles. It just looks so off, and a lot of the sets are really like bare. It's just like tracks, ballast, maybe a building, and that's it. No like crates, no workmen, no pipes, no nothing. It's just very, very plain, and it looks really, really ugly. The lighting, though, is very, very nice. It's a very nice, refreshing change from the very dull, kind of drab Nitrogen lighting. This episode also might be a bit longer, so I apologize, but there's just a lot to talk about here. Yeah, Gordon Runs Dry, pretty good story. Not the greatest ever, but it's very, very nice. Let's see, what's next? Kevin's Cranky Friend. I really like the pairing up with Kevin and Cranky. That's a very, very nice little duo. And another thing I like about season 17, I really, really, really appreciate, this is actually what makes the season like really stand out to me. I really appreciate how the Miller era characters that had nothing to do, that only appeared once and never again, actually get some spotlight here. For example, Scruff. We get to know more of his character. Winston, even though he had Happy Birthday Sir, which fleshed him out a little bit. He gets fleshed out here. He's a very, very eager type. Scruff is not very particular, but once he sees how good he looks after he's repainted, he wants to get a better job. Winston, very, very eager, like I said. Kevin, he's actually a very, very useful and helpful crane. He's not just the bumbling idiot at the steamworks. Stafford, you don't really get to know his character very well. And I will say Steamy Stafford is a really, really bad episode. That feels like a season 16 episode, if I'm going to be honest. But back to Kevin's Cranky Friend. Very, very nice. Yeah. I also like how the docks this season gets a bit of focus. You know, we get the premiere episode, which is the Cranky episode. Then you get the episode with a couple of episodes on Spills and Thrills, you know, with Porter and such. That's really nice. Just pretty fine. I like the episode. It's not anything too spectacular, but it's pretty well done. And another cool thing, this is written by Lee Pressman. These first 3 or so episodes of the season are actually written by him. He was a writer back in season 7. He wrote Gordon and Spencer, and I really, really like how they brought him back. He was around until season 22, which I don't blame him. He apparently didn't like Big World Big Adventures, so he jumped the ship. Don't blame him, though, because Big World Big Adventures is really, really bad. Scruff's makeover is next. Very, very nice. I do like how it fleshes out Scruff again. Yeah, pretty fine. Nothing too crazy. It's a very laid back episode. All these episodes are pretty laid back, apart from Wayward Winston. But yeah, they're very refreshing, very calm. They're very reminiscent of, I'd say, like season 7, maybe even season 8 a little bit. But they're not like stupid like those seasons. Very very intelligent dialogue, and well, not very intelligent, but it's not stupid like the Sharon Miller era. Alright, we've been hyping this up for a little while now. Wayward Winston. Holy crap, what a fantastic episode. This is probably... I'm going to be making a whole video about my top 10 episodes on Turbo 711, and I think out of all the CGI episodes, this has got to be one of my favorites. It combines Busy Going Backwards and elements of Thomas Comes to Breakfast. Those are two of my favorite episodes of all time, and holy crap, they pulled this off great, and I love that they used Winston of all characters. A character who doesn't do anything in the series after this. He barely has any lines, but he has an extremely entertaining episode where he just runs away, and Thomas and Sir Tom have to chase him. And I absolutely love how this isn't a 3 Strikes Formula episode. That's really, really cool, because every episode before this has been a 3 Strikes episode. So I really like how this is just a normal, run-of-the-mill, just we're going to tell a fun story because we can story. Yeah, I love this episode. The comedy is great. That's a thing that modern Thomas is really lacking, Classic Thomas was funny. It wasn't like banking on his humor, but there were very, very funny moments, like in season 5 especially. But I love when Thomas and Sir Tom fly through the crossing, and Sir Tom's like, "Stay where you are, Bertie, don't move!" And Bertie's like, "All right, I won't move then. I wonder for how long." That's really funny. I love that. Yeah, great, great, great episode. The humor is peak. And then, I did mention this earlier, but Steamy Stafford is garbage. I think this is probably the worst episode of the Brenner. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. I think A Shed for Edward is infinitely worse, but of season 17, I think this is the worst episode. It just feels very, very season 16. Why does Stafford want to make these noises? It's because apparently, the children, didn't wave at him. They weren't happy to see him, even though they were like, "Look, here comes Stafford!" I don't know. I don't understand Stafford's motivation. Although I do like how he got a spotlight episode again, because he would never, ever have one again. Oh, yeah, it's just fine. I mean, this isn't really like a show where I review the episodes really in depth, so I'd have to sit down for like half an hour to an hour to write a review of every episode, so I don't really want to do that. We're reviewing the DVD. So, yeah, this DVD overall is really, really good. We're going to reorder the episodes here really quick. So we got Kevin's Cranky Friend, Scruff's Makeover, Wayward Winston, Gordon Runs Dry, and Steamy Stafford. One more quick thing. Actually, two more, excuse me. So, canonically, the 5th episode of season 17 is Calm Down Caitlin. But at the time of this DVD's release, King of the Railway had not yet come out, and the average parent who's buying this for the kid and the kid themselves would probably not know who Caitlin is or who Ulfstead Castle or what Ulfstead Castle is, even though they do mention Ulfstead Castle and Wayward Winston, but that doesn't matter. So I think it was really, really smart not to have Calm Down Caitlin on this release, because kids would be confused out of their mind. And then the very last thing I want to mention is the Mr. Perkins segment. So the later releases, I believe this begins on maybe Santa's Little Engine, maybe the Thomas Way, I don't remember exactly, but we will not have the standard Mr. Perkins in the engine driver's common room. He will actually be on like a different railway, so he'll be in the signal box. He'll read some stories from the Railway series, which is a really, really cool little addition. He will send out a postcard. He'll talk about just real engine stuff, and then we'll also get stuff from the Earl of Sodor. So he'll do like a puzzle thing. Sir Topham Hatt will do like a calling all engines thing, where he shouts out like Harvey and Diesel maybe or something. And then there's also Who's the Engine, which is actually a really, really cool little feature. It's very, very simple, but I really like the way that it's done. It's very, very clever. So yeah, this segment on here is pretty forgettable. It's kind of jarring to see an Engine Driver's Common Room segment on a Brenner era DVD because I'm so used to having those other segments interspliced with these episodes, but it's still pretty cool. It's him, getting ready for a soccer match, which it's not that bad. It's pretty standard. No Mr. Perkins segment, however, will ever live up to the one on Go-Go Thomas because that one is legendary. Oh, wow. That was a lot to take in. I apologize if that was too much for you because that was definitely too much for me. I'm really out of breath. Yeah, that's really all for this episode here. I am so excited for the future because the Brenner era is one of my favorite eras in all of Thomas. I mean, there aren't really any good eras. There's only like the classic series and the Brenner era, and that's pretty much it. But the Brenner era, when it has its highs, it's just great. It's like on par, maybe even a little bit better than the classic series. I know when we get to like Spills and Thrills and Trouble on the Tracks and Engines to the Rescue, the Christmas Engines, Signals Crossed. Oh, those are some banger releases. Those are going to be great to cover. And we will only be in the full screen era for just a little bit longer. I'm so happy to be done with this format. I don't know why we were getting releases in full screen in 2013, because I know from experience, when I was a kid in 2013, we did not have full screen televisions anymore. It wasn't a smart TV, but it was a pretty big TV. It wasn't like anything too special. It was just a normal, like, big widescreen TV. So definitely did not have those TVs from like the 90s or early 2000s, which we did have at one point when I was really, really young, but not for long. So I don't know who was working at Lionsgate and said, people in 2013 still use, full screen televisions. We got to put all these releases in full screen so we can adapt to them. Even though the bonus features and the trailers that play at the beginning are in widescreen. Universal, what are you doing? I might have actually mentioned this in one of the earlier episodes of the CGI series, maybe even the later model series, but if you really wanted these DVDs to sell, put them in widescreen. No one likes full screen anymore. I get it for the first 5 seasons. Those were actually filmed in full screen, so it made sense. And I kind of get it with seasons 6 through 12 because, the model series is pretty well known for being filmed in full screen, so it's cool to see that then. But then when you do the CGI series in full screen, good lord, that looks terrible. Anyways, I've been rambling a lot. Thank you all so much for watching. I believe I mentioned this with Go-Go Thomas or maybe Very Thomas Christmas, but I've been putting out episodes on both Wednesday and Saturday ever since Splish Splash Splosh and Thomas and the Runaway Kite, I believe. That's been a lot. I just wanted to power through the Miller era, so I don't believe I'm going to be doing that again. I'm going to stick to only a Saturday release just to give myself a break and to give myself more time to work on videos for my other channel. So yeah, I'm sorry if you guys really enjoyed that 2 episodes a week thing. I might bring that back when we get to the end of the series, but who knows. But on next week's Saturday, there might not be a new episode. I haven't decided yet. So the next release in the canonical timeline is Animals Aboard, and my copy doesn't have a case. It's just the disc, so I haven't decided if I'm going to do an episode just with that or if I want to actually buy the DVD, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this very, very long episode, and I will see you next time. I need some water. Wow. Oh my god. Excuse me. Whoa. Peter said you drink water. Don't drink soda every single day. Water is really, really good. Okay, bye.